as per usual, I was saying something to BZ as Lisa was coming back in the room. Let me just say, welcome everybody. My name is Sheila. This is Conscious Conversation Central. I'm with Lisa Flamino Rush and BZ Rieger. Yay, another daytime Gal Pal Posse chat. I'm so glad. I was sharing with BZ that I am still feeling the effects of whatever and what all. I'm going to put it like that because I have no idea exactly what we did and what all we did and how it is affecting the all. But whatever it was that we did in this backyard with Crystal and Lisa last weekend, not this past weekend, but weekend before, when Crystal was visiting me and Lisa here, I'm still feeling the effects of the unfoldment, uh, the unfurling, because it's like on a regular basis, whatever it is. And I remember too, I shared this with you. I think I shared this with you, Lisa, or well, you, me, and Crystal the other day. We actually pulled it down here, and there was a time where all three of us were standing right here, almost right outside my bedroom window, and it was very clear that that energy was coming down this way. And this is just my perception of it. I'm connecting with it on the regular. So I was sharing that with you, and you said, you need to hit record because this is goes right in line with what we're speaking about. And so I think I at first when you said that, I just hit record because I trust you, first of all, and I know you're right. But I didn't quite grok how the connection until I shared it and looked at the title again, La Mira, Look to See. So now I get how it is connected. I was here, I'm just I'm sharing something with you, thinking, I'm just sharing something you weren't aware of. And no, it really is connected. So
Yeah.
wow.
Well, everything's all connected anyways.
Well, that's true. You're right about that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
And there are wondrous things. So you can, when you look to see, then you not only see with all of your capabilities, but you actually help to unfurl it, whatever that is that's ready to unfurl, what's always been there. And you, by looking to see, you're honoring it, you're acknowledging it, you're paying in energy and reciprocity to it. So it occurs to me we should probably start with with why the title and what we're talking about, so people aren't going, huh? What am I looking at?
Hey, I just hit record. That's all that so yeah, go please share, because this is something you brought to us to play with, and I'd love to hear, because like I said, I get the connection now. But when I was just, and that is something you said just then about that, when you said look, and I also, for me now, I automatically I add see, sense, and feel to everything, because although we do that, we don't give enough moment to it, enough presence to, because we can't help but see, sense, and feel everything. Whether we're allowing it in or not is the question. But because that's the way we operate, this whole lensing mechanism, it works both ways, but we don't pay it enough mind. I know I haven't, at least. I'll just keep it right here. I won't point the finger out anywhere over there. But I just know for me, I haven't been present enough with myself. And that's part of the goal of all of this, right? So when you were speaking just then, I felt into that portion of, because you said all of your abilities. Well,
Right.
yes, we have those and they're always there, they're always present. But if I'm not present,
Right. If we're not
and
honoring them, right?
right well, that is not yeah,
Shielding them, discounting them, blocking them,
yes,
dissing
but
them.
it's woo woo, it doesn't exist, that's bull. Yeah, no, exactly, you're right. And so, wow. So yeah,
Let's
please.
hit the pause button for 1 sec.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so we paused it so that you could find, there was some information that you had to share, and you wanted to grab that so you could share it. So
Yeah, one of
well,
the
it won't look like to anybody else like we paused, but we know
right.
you, and you said I know we paused. So
It's the Google Translate, because I've been playing with this thing. I've been noticing it in myself. I've been noticing myself naturally wanting to elicit this reaction in others who are totally unawake, and in a way not even describing what I was wanting to get them to do, but just nudge. So innately I was practicing this because I was nudged to have other people do what we were just talking about, to honor something, to fully engage with it, right? And connect with it. And the reason I was looking at the translation is because I have two people who are helping me now who the Spanish is their Mexican actually is their native tongue. And so we do a lot of really bad English and really bad Spanish and connect with each other. And so one of the things is to say mira, to look, right? And and so I get in the habit of doing that, and it makes sense because I'll say mira and then explain something, and it's blah 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 and bad, you know, bad language which they can't understand, and they can look, because what I'm asking them to do is bring all of it in. And what I'm explaining, it's not just do this, it's why we're doing this, and then what if we don't do this, this non-benefit happens, sort of a thing. And so that's just the mechanics of why I was doing. But it was dawning on me, I'm thinking, well, this is a whole metaphor, and actually an occurrence, an experiential thing that's happening in a bilingual way for all that's going on in the energies right now, because I keep telling them to look and see, right? Yes, on how to do this, this, and this, but right. And so before we were going to record, this was actually last night, but before we were going to record, I thought, well, let me just look it up and make sure I have the name spelling right and everything. And when Google Translate gave me all sorts of very intricate things it had never done before, and when it gave me a suggestion as La Mira, and that was, and it gave me that when you use that in, apparently in Spanish, it actually means several things concurrently, and that was sight. I think the other one, which is what I was trying to look up now, the other one is to clearly see. And watchtower was the last one. I thought, well, that's odd. So I just kind of moved on that one, and that gave me again the Spanish, how you would say it, but then the definition from that, which said, to be high above with a clear light on something. And I thought, well, you just
yeah,
can't.
that was the definition for watchtower, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because
but
that last one,
watchtower was a definition in La Mira.
right,
They were all together.
right.
So the whole point of that is it's they're honor coincidences. So what's happening is, this is just in my case, the language came in as a good interplay or a good example, right? Maybe to have this very conversation. That when we, La Mira, might be a great way for you to hold it, to see, sense, and feel, right? Because it's turning everything on, in the sense, not that it's turning everything, everything's always on. It's never not on. But for you, consciously, in an integrated fashion, in an active, participatory, engaging, honoring, acknowledging, and co-creative way, right? You're turning yourself on with everything there to look and see. So you can look at something and see it beyond just, I'm looking at, and there's a computer and there's, partitions of screens. I'm looking and I'm seeing those beings. I'm looking and I can read the energy of those beings. I'm looking and I can read the energetic envelope and what's in there and the other beings that are in this energetic envelope with us, right? So as I look and see, as I meet that, whatever else it is, I can not only see the depth and the breadth and the energy field and the energy frequency signature, the essence of it, and that would be just on the small level, right? But when I look to see, I can actually see the full scope of it as it seemingly, I'm going to use it that way, transforms within front of my eyes. So the fullness of what it is, I can now look to see. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it really does. And I keep the whole thing for me, like I said, when we first started just chatting and you told me to hit record, well, it was very clear to me that until it took me a moment to figure it out, that I wasn't fully present, or I would have grokked that in that moment. I think I would have seen that connection, but I wasn't fully present. That's why I wanted to acknowledge that.
Right.
Because I think that's something that we too often don't do. Bring our full presence. I really used to, I'll be honest with y'all now. The two of you know this already, I think, but I didn't get it. I didn't get, what do you mean you don't bring all of you? What? I'm here. Now you know I that's right. Y'all know though that is what I had going on because, but I see now where it's really easy because we really are, all of us have access. I do get this now on such a level. It's just not even funny anymore. It's all choosing to access it or not. And I get it that I still don't know how to access all of me yet. I'm okay with this though, because I'm learning how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is reminding me of that term, nose blind.
Can you speak up a little bit? For some reason, your microphone is just giving me fits today.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay. Well, I'll speak up a little.
That's great.
Thank you.
Um, I'm calling to mind the term nose blind. It's very popular now in these commercials. I'm seeing it.
Mhm.
A car shaped like a dog. But see, our brains do this all the time. We edit things out of our reality because, well, for many reasons, they're unpleasant, they're uncomfortable, perhaps they're a bit inconvenient, but it does take training to remember to be present and to allow all of what is happening in the now moment to present, to allow yourself to see what is really here, because I think I've been habitually editing portions of reality that I don't really care for. Our brain
Guilty.
just do that. Yeah. So, and that's just by default. So you can change that by paying attention and being in the present moment. Well, and the benefit of doing that is the present moment is where all your power is.
And you brought up something important. I think if people think about it, they realize that they actually do exactly what you talked about. They may not cop to doing it intentionally, but they do it. And a lot of it is a preservation mechanism because they just don't have enough time. They're overwhelmed already. And it's great because if you're wanting to design and divine a system that is boxing people in and slaving people and dumbing them down, right, as a frequency experiential exercise,
Mhm.
the box that we were in and coming out of, then it's great because hey, you can get them to do it without them understanding what they're doing and the severe not only disadvantages but consequences to doing that. So now you can actually use the power of that, take your power and wield your power and change that, and so that you're doing that where you're noticing and present to everything, but what is giving you the higher level telemetry and the HD read on everything are the ones that is you're now consciously chosen focus area, bandwidth area, right? And you could use it as a shorthand, you know, to be happy or things that resonate. And you set up what your criteria. That's just like if you're working with, when I work with the Aussies, I keep having, if I have a word that I'm wanting them to understand, then I have a criteria for what that word is. I don't change it. This day it means that, and this day it means that, because they're going to go, okay, well, as soon as you learn how to speak whatever language you're speaking, you let us know in the meantime, right? The criteria are always the same. So we make the same criteria for ourselves. And when you do that, you will notice, you'll catch something out of your eye, you'll be right visible. If someone's being an idiot or someone's trying to goad you or someone's trying to give you a fear-driven thing, you will absolutely won't miss it. You'll see it. And then in your things that you've set your high definition parameters to, you'll go for those. You will sidestep, let go of, not engage with, not get into a rope-a-dope with those other things, and you'll focus on that. So you're not editing them out, but you're simply choosing not to give your energy and attention to them.
I couldn't said it better myself. As a matter of fact, I hear my words and I don't have to play on that playground.
Right.
And I don't have to be upset because they don't want to play the way I want to play.
Right.
For me, I also heard in what you just said, all of this all of that is contained in the energetic of sovereignty, first of all, but also in that oh wow, it just flew right out, and it was really, oh well, if it's important, it'll come back. That was very interesting how that
Well, let me see if this will have it float by again. So when you said it's all that is contained, first of all, in the realm of sovereignty, and I would say as soon as you said that, my thought was, well, yes, at the very leading edge of it, but you haven't gotten to the true sovereignty yet until you look to see. Because when you look to see, which is la mira, it's that, and I don't know if that's the full definition in Spanish, but hey, that's what I just made it up to be. So there you go. When you look to see, you're seeing all of the levels of it, all of the dimensionality, right? All of the color frequencies, all of the energetic. So you're looking in on all of that. You're looking in and you can see what it is on just a linear plane, quantum, multidimensional, all of those things. And you're looking to see what it is in the first moment you locked on to look to see. but all of its potentiality. And as its potentiality is looked at, connected with, you come subject to one another in that, right? That potentiality now is materialized. It now is, it simply is, where before a moment ago it wasn't. And that is where you have the sovereignty and the singularity of each being, each quote unquote object or whatever it is. Because the you're, I think it would be fair to say, is you're pulling it into a cohesive structure that you can now interact with. So if someone has really enjoys doing something, I don't know, um, I don't know, woodworking. We'll just say, I'm just going to make it up. So someone really enjoys woodworking, and they like it when they see someone else carve something, or they like watching someone, or they like looking at a piece done, or they like the feel of it or something, and they didn't really know about it, but they like it. So that's the first, to give as an example, they're meeting something, and now they can travel through all of those stages, all of those experiential things, all of those interactions, which may have been a lifetime, till they get there. And in that moment, they can look to see and see all of that in themselves, just in touching a carved piece of wood or something. I mean, I don't know why I got that as an example, but there you go. Because it's, and then we can choose it by putting our attention on that and look to see, and we can step into that. Okay, here's why that came as an example. Because right now we're changing everything. The old frequency, the set points, the whole playground, all of that, and all of the structures, all of the reality, all of the norms, the rules, the procedures, the way you navigate, whether it's, starting a business, running a business, working for someone, whatever it is, right? School, doesn't matter. They are built in a certain way. And we're not in that energy anymore. And someone can and did just say, well, wait a minute, that stuff's still there. Yes, the remnants of it are still there. It's almost like an echo or a fading. If someone cooked dinner and they could smell, it was great, homemade spaghetti sauce or whatever, and wow, that smells really good, and it gets the tummy going, all that kind of stuff. But the pot may be gone, and got a bunch of happy people sitting around going, wow, that was good. Too bad you missed it, kind of a thing, right? Sort of a thing. So the remnants are still there. There's still that, and you're seeing the echo of that. But it is on its way out, and it's in completion. What has changed markedly now, and that's why if you're not completely zonked and dead asleep, even if you don't know how to describe it, you've noticed that change, and the speed with which the new things are coming and the dots connecting, and the speed you're seeing crumbling, which you think is just the old, it's not. It's in the new energy where the crumbling and so like this is happening very fast. And so the main energy, the main frequency, the main pool in which to play, that is 1 bazillionth% supported, is the forward expansive energy, not the crumbling. And that's the difference. That's also how you know that the light has won, and all, whatever, if you're going to use those kinds of ways to phrase it. So because of that, if whatever you're doing, whether it's, and we talked a little bit of this off camera, I'm seeing a lot of this in, as I create my new path, which I'll have some discussions for everybody about soon, and the new business, and then all of that, what's new for next on the path of the IUV, and all those kinds of things. I need to do everything not from how the structures and systems work, whether it's business or internet or marketing or connecting or any of those things in any of the existing structures. I need to do it in a way of acknowledging what little was there and then finding where that point is of the new and moving it forward. Why? Because I only choose to have it in the new energy. And most importantly, I mean, that's pretty important for me. But most importantly, it won't work because you get a little further down the road, a month, maybe not even that long. And if it's built on anything back here, it won't work. Emails literally won't work. Websites literally won't work in that energy frequency. And certainly the whole idea of what it is that I myself am wanting to create and share and collaborate with all others out there that are interested in that, it will not work on that foundation. So if you've ever heard of someone building a house and the foundation shifted underneath it,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same exact kind of thing. It's literal, tangible in the energetics. Though now, even if you never paid any attention to energetics, I went, that's just woo-woo stuff. The woo and the woo is shifting all over you to show you very clearly that's exactly how it works, and it's real tangible. So that's how we bring that in. That's why it's so vital and enlivening, both in the same proportions, that we pay attention to look to see. And then you do that in every moment for whatever it is that you're choosing to play with, to work with, to let go of, to enhance, and move from there.
One of the things I noticed about, because it just came in just as you were finishing speaking there about back to what we did here, right? For me anyway. Um, and that's gone too now. That's interesting. Wow. Well,
So again, you can look to see at that. So don't reach for it, but look into the space so we could play with this. Look into the space, the thought, the feeling more important in your heart. Look into that where that was and see what else can you see. Your mind might say nothing. Go beyond that. Look at the nothing and keep going, right? Because this is it's an active looking to see at the same time. The very act of looking, engaging, honoring, and coming to subject in one another of whatever the other is, reveals, wow, like if you're reaching for this thing, gone. I don't know what
right.
it was, right? But
Yep.
keep looking at it instead of reaching, instead of getting frustrated. And now you're looking to see, I can't see it, feel it, think of it, remember it. Look here. And it's almost like you walk through a part where it was
I think
blank.
I think that it's just that I'm obviously there's something drawing my attention to that area right now for some reason. I mean, right this minute, because it's all a very it was just very interesting how uh, because as soon as I was about to say whatever it was I felt, it was completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that's about. You know what I mean? But I keep being drawn back to that. There was something you were speaking on that just brought it right there again. It was very interesting. So there is some connection there. And I'm sure if you continue speaking, it's going to show itself again.
Well, and you can play with, so whether it could be this example or anything else. If you're if you're looking and you're thinking, okay, well, the energies are supposed to be different, and I've always been fascinated by telepathy or whatever it is, right? We'll just use it as an example.
Right.
But this is me just being someone else thinking about this. But
Okay.
I'm really interested in it, and I can't wait to do that, right? Or I can't wait to have that happen, or won't that be cool when? So all of that is future, something you don't have, something that you're missing. More is the heavier weighted energy. And won't it be great when you actually get something cool like that, right? So think about it. That is a lot if you can feel it,
Right.
right?
There's always something
It's
future.
all in the crumbling down constrictive energy. So if you look to see, and you look in this just example that we're playing with telepathy, can you look, however you gaze at a tree, however you're doing it, right? Can you look, which is all of you, La Mira. So it's sight, it's connection to, it's from a higher vantage point. So it doesn't mean hierarchical, it means higher all of you. Encompassing would be a good way to use that.
Well, yeah, open too, honestly.
Yes, yes. And so now it's just, and another way you could look at it is that there is no mind involved. There's looking, it's you're triangulating from the 0 point. So from the grounding of Gaia and all of her energy frequency, the grounding of source and all of that through your heart, so the soul of you, and you're triangulating. And now you're looking this way at something. Yes, with these eyes. Yes, with these eyes. Yes, with all sorts of your other sensory perceptions, your telemetry, right? Your telemetry array that I always talk about. Even if you don't know about, just put
Actually,
it on.
something just came in for me that, and it has to do with what triggered this was your hand movements, what you were doing when you said that about, pulling it in and right. Mhm. That's how I feel when one of the reasons I speak on for me, the vessel, my body being a lensing mechanism, because I feel that is how I create my reality. I am, yes,
because
exactly.
because this is the 0 point where all creation comes from.
Exactly. And when you just said that and did that, of course, if you see, because what you're creating now, you can see, sense, and feel on a level you couldn't before.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Because the way you did that was perfect. Wow.
And in the thing that we were playing with the telepathy as an example, so if you stop for a moment and you're doing this, however you do it, you could do a whole thing where you're actually grounding below and centering above and within and all that kind of stuff, or just um, you will then automatically, innately come from the place in the energy frequencies that we are now. You will be fully in the 0 point in this moment. You will not be, and you will not be capable of coming from the old and the crumbling down frequencies. So you could look at it and say, well, over here you're going, I would love to do telepathy and crickets. And over here you could still say, yeah, that's exciting to play with that. Don't see anything yet, right? So it's a very subtle, but it's very demonstrable in the difference. And
Well,
then
yes, because one is hopeful and but also feels doubtful to me. The other feels more open.
yes.
Um, you can't put anything into a closed hand. So
And so when you're in that space and you meet it, maybe before there was someone star family, someone you always wanted to meet. Oh, it's gonna be exciting. We're all over here and right and this it's not happening, right? But now it's great. And and you think of them, feel them coming, they're standing right in front of you, right? And meet them. There is that connection. It's automatically, innately, again, it's a moment of quiet, of reverence for yourself and them. It's a moment of heart centeredness, right? Heart centric. It's a moment of meeting, total meeting, right? And your look to see. And in that seeing, everything opens up. The light flicks on, right? The heart fully activates. And any mindness in there comes in service to what's unfolding in that vista that you are now fully ensconced in that energetic envelope. And so in a very no matters of time, you could be looking at something that was kind of round like this. Pretend this is something that you're playing with, and you're looking at it and you're meeting it and you're feeling it and you're connecting to it. And then you keep looking and you see, oh, it's got kind of a shape to it, right? Because the hands have a shape. Well, it's actually the thing in there. And then the shape, and then you see it's got color. And now you're seeing, wow, that's a piece of my brain is just completely blocked out of turquoise, right? Right. So now you're seeing all of this, and you're seeing within it and all of it, and all of you is being seen by it. So whether it's a person, a subject, a structure, right? An organization, a, a system, doesn't matter. You will see what it is in the very, very linear slice of it, and all of its quantum and multidimensional facets as well, that, interestingly enough, cannot be seen by the human linear eye structure, your actual, physiological eye structure. Yet it can when you bring all of you in your sensory array to see it
through the third eye.
through the whole enchilada sensory array.
Well, yeah, no, I feel you, but when you were for me, I find the third eye kind of replaces the eye in some ways.
Right. And you can do it with your eyes closed, sitting in a chair oming. But what I'm talking about is standing right out there, any place. You don't have to be in the right setting or the right clothing or the
Oh,
right,
I got you there. Yeah, I feel you.
right? It all right there.
Right.
And so someone just said, well, that feels cool. And I'm hearing you say that this is going to be valuable for me, particularly because we just hit this new energy frequency and what we're wanting to build and move forward, right? So what is it? Because in that moment, it's going to be your guide. You will be informing it and yourself of what that potential is. Because what's a very common question is, well, how do we build these new things? How do we, we're, instead of, okay, I finally get it. I don't really want to fix anything because they were never broken. So, okay, how do I build these things? Or, how do we have a new earth business, right? How do I work in a place for someone else, if there is going to be such a thing, in a new earth, as a associate, as a member of the team for that, or any other iterations of that, right? And you start with here, because this is where you're intentionally not only connecting with whatever it is, right? Could be a person, whatever it is. You're intentionally not editing anything out of it, like Lisa was talking about earlier, how you well, yeah, you selectively do that, right? And you have all of that coming, but and this is something Lisa talks about a lot too, is you have your focus, you have your set point, you have, so I'm using actually some of Sheila's words and some of Lisa's words, and mine is where what it is that I am resonant with and seek to match with. So I get all the picture, I can see all of it. It's there. I'm not missing anything. I'm not editing anything. But the way my eyes, in conjunction read it, is that this is here, but it's a paler shade, as if I slid down the opacity on whatever I'm viewing, and it's not as much pixels, right? So it's, if you've ever kind of, and the rest is super high D. It's super, all the dimensionality, all of the frequency, all of the vivaciousness, all of the high definition of it is so I can see it. So if I'm looking at, let's say, this computer screen, right, and certain parts of it are in what I've already set my homing beacon. Oh, there's an actually fun thing that's just come to me. So of going to home, connecting home, and actually creating home, which is full 0 point right here, tangibly in front of me. And I'm using the computer screen as an example. So the lower left quadrant may be there, and I could make out the different things, but it's kind of grayed out, sort of thing. If you're used to clicking things on a computer site, well, you can't click that because it's kind of grayed out. So that's grayed out. This is very vibrant here. This is maybe midtones, where there might be one circle that's particularly drawing my attention. And the reason that is so helpful, and beyond that necessary and vital, is because that's how, for each of ourselves, we're going to move through this stuff, and how we're going to help all move through all this.
By being able to recognize things
And engage with it.
Yeah, as they present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pull all of what it is what all of that is, forward in that moment, instead of just kind of passing your eye by, okay, there's a building, there's a this, naming it, it's flat, right? It's very linear. There is no fully looking and seeing. Now you could do the same. You might have a quick pass, and then you go, oh, wait, I remember I heard this conversation. Let me look to see. And you look for a moment and you go, oh my God, that's not a black and white object. That has many, many shades and colors. And now the colors are all of a sudden blooming. Like you've colorized your world, right? You've magicified your world. You have motioned your world when it was just a still. Because the potentiality not only is now becoming clear or obvious to you, but the potentiality has actually clicked in, so that it's actively part of that right this moment.
Well, that kind of leads me to speak on how important this actually is to become more present, based on our conversation that we had yesterday, Lisa, Crystal, and I, in regards to an expiration date, and I spoke then. I tell you, I every evening, and see, it's not quite 5:30 here on the East Coast, and every evening about this time, the energy starts feeling as though I feel I am being squeezed, compressed. Especially here in my head, it is so interesting to me. This has only been like this for the last little bit here, but I do feel like it has something to do with, what's going on. I've said before, I feel like we are condensed light coming into a lensing mechanism. And as more of me pours in here, sometimes it feels like, wow. So I apologize. My head is starting to go here. But I do feel like it's important. This right here is important to have, that because of that. I feel too that because we do create our own reality, and we always have. News flash. We always have. We've always created our own reality. We just weren't. I'll just put it this way. I wasn't conscious. I wasn't conscious that I was doing that. I was more responding to everything around me, thinking that I was just trying to put out fires to stay alive. When in fact, well, okay, so that was fun, and that was then, and this is now. And seeing that I set all of that up, and that I'm in charge of all of this. I don't know. It's just I feel like now that's gone too. Okay, so this is very interesting again with me. Boy, I tell you, that's so weird.
Okay. That's okay.
What were you saying, Lisa?
My new motto is that's okay.
Oh, that's right.
No, it really.
No, share that, please, because I think that's important to share too. I don't know why, but I still can't hear you. So just sing to me for a minute and get your mic going.
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now? Okay. So basically, I forgot now.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. See? Okay. So I am finding that as I practice what BZ is speaking on here, really looking at things, I'm finding that I was editing certain things because they weren't comfortable to look at. And I didn't want them included in my reality, and yet they are. So my new motto is to be able to look at something that I don't prefer right now and to say, that's okay. I'm not saying I love it and I'd like it to persist. I'm just saying it's okay that it's here. It's okay that I'm looking at this, that I'm observing something I do not prefer. And I'm practicing being okay with what is. Because when you begin to look and see, you're going to see things you don't prefer. Not all the time, but certainly those things are there. And by just allowing myself the comfort zone of being okay with what I see has allowed me to see even more. And I know it sounds crazy, but once you get beyond the things you don't prefer, you can see the perfection of what is. So, but it takes practice because, like for instance, I forget a lot when I'm saying. That happens to me a lot. And when it was very frustrating to me, then it would stop the flow of energy. And I'm talking about this flow that BZ was talking about, that connected flow. And it takes me out of that and into this whole other thing over here, swirling around in some kind of an eddy. And in allowing it to just be what it is, oh, I forget a lot where I am. That's okay. Generally, I can see past that, and either it will come back to me, or I'll even see that I am on the brink of taking that understanding that maybe I was about to articulate to a whole new level. And so sometimes it'll just leave me for a second because it's percolating in my little cauldron. I'm trying to steal
because you've
Russian.
jumped. You actually jumped above it, and it's got to come back up to you.
Yes, yes. And so once I get reacquainted with my new perspective and I look around, I can see where maybe the thought that I had that flew in, I can see where that is now expanding and growing. And so I would get like caught up somewhere in a misconnection. But to just go, oh, that's okay, just suddenly allows everything to naturally just do what it's going to do. It takes me out of resistance. Because what I've noticed is whatever I am resisting, I mean anything that I am resisting, I am now tethering myself to that. And I'm doing that because I'm a creator being. And because what I say goes. So, if I think there's some kind of a disconnect or a problem, then there is immediately. And so I want to get out of my own way, first of all, and not create a problem where there isn't any. And if there is something that I need to deal with, it really helps me to see it for what it is. Just allow it to be. That's that flipping over, like if you're drowning, float. And the beauty of the float is suddenly you have this whole vision around you. You can absolutely see everything. And now you're not fighting, you're not struggling, you're just being. And in that place, if you begin to look around, solutions present. That's like that getting into that 0 point allows you have every possibility at your fingertips, and you don't know what they are until you just allow yourself to see what is. So
Yeah,
that is all.
well,
I
and
love that.
Lisa said she was giving a beautiful word picture because for her shorthand is that's okay, right? And boy, I heard a whole bunch of people go, "What do you mean that's okay? That's not okay. You don't understand." So for Lisa, that's her. She can just say it out loud, and that brings you right. It does this.
Yes.
In that moment, Lisa's going, "That's okay," and that does this to her whole energetic field, to everything, to the flow. She just goes, "Oh, that's an okay thing." So that's a duck, that's an okay, and you just keep going. And so everybody can find a way to, you could have something that you feel in your body, you could have a thing that you say, you could do it's ever different, something that you recognize, and it doesn't matter about anybody else, to do that same thing. And what you're doing, Lisa talked about a little bit at the end there, what you're doing is you're staying in the 0 point, right? Because when you're meeting something, when you look and you see, you're meeting it, right? You're doing what I talked about.
Yeah.
And when you stay in the 0 point, which is neutrality, being neutral. So again, if one's hearing ears are coming from the old crumbling and they hear Lisa say, "That's okay," and they're thinking, "Oh, no, baby, it's really not okay because you don't know over here what's going on," right? But that's not how Lisa's body, her whole being, she's hearing, right? Neutral zone, the neutral point. So if you can, as we're playing with this thing, people who are playing with us can hear that, then go, okay, being neutral to it. Over here, you may have described it as that really, right? And over here you go, neutral. I notice it. I'm not editing anything out. I'm taking in the full picture. I'm in my neutral zone. I know because I'm the one who created it. I know where my alignment is, where my preferences are, where I'm traveling to. I see the whole picture right in front of me right this moment. And if we had a little post-it note, we'd say the thing that Lisa's tagged as, that's okay, great, because that's her shorthand, right? And I look at it, and whatever yours is, you've backed off the opacity, so it's grayed out a little bit. It's right there. You're not missing it, right? You're not la 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 ignoring it, but it's not right in your face because you don't have any antagonism to it. You don't have any knock of flow to it. You don't have any of that, right?
Yes, because, and that's what we talked about too, because ah, I was so grateful Lisa was here on Monday because she was she helped me see I was ramping myself right up into a rant that, does nothing for anyone about anything, and doesn't serve me at all either. And so, you know, oh,
Locked right where it is because now it's dancing with you. I said it serves to keep it locked in place, is what it does, because you are, if you, the universe always says yes to whatever thought you're holding or you're thinking about or whatever you're seeing. Just a resounding yes. So if you think that there's something to be very frustrated about and upset about, the universe says yes.
Yes, let's do it, man.
For you, have some more. Yeah. But so instead of railing at what I don't prefer, I've decided to say, oh, that's okay. Thank you. I'll pass.
Right.
I prefer this over here. And as a creator being, I know that I can create my own experience and I can, and my creation only affects me. Okay. And in that, I create the experience I step into. You create the experience you step into. So I do not have to get upset about what you're doing over there, because what you're doing over there is for you to experience. And so when I can just be okay with what everybody else is doing, I'm not creating their experience for me. But when I'm not okay with what everybody else is doing, I begin to create their experience in my life.
Yeah, because you're a match to it. And so I want to share here that when I started out clearing eons ago, when I started out clearing all the, teeth that, being raised in New York and all that kind of stuff, we like to, teeth it up. And and so and I can hear echoes of way, way, way back then when Lisa says, well, that's okay. And I'm thinking, no, it's really not okay. So again, everybody will hold it differently. Try on the phrase. For me, I just say, I'm staying neutral to that. It's not lighting me up in any way. So again, instead of the not, I'm saying I am neutral to that. That it used to be, I'm not lighting up to that. That's not lighting me up. And then I realized, got to learn how the not was not heard and the lighting up was heard. And so you dance with that. And the other thing you had said, um, to Sheila, you had said, well, it's serving you to hold it there. And if you're doing that unconsciously, obviously you realize that that's not serving you, and because you're choosing differently. Sometimes, because I did one the other day, and sometimes it's serving you because you get lit up, you get into a tussle with it, you really get on a rant, you really, and 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 you're just doing it to the nines. And for me in that instance, what it was serving, because the expansion Did I like it? No. Was I unhappy? You bet. Was it off the charts? You bet. Was it really full scale, New Yorker? You bet. There's nobody else around. I was just right. Absolutely. And it served me because the expansion in that 5-minute window was incredible. And I had to go walk it off. I had, shake it off. I had to get all the flupsum and jepsum from it off and not feel bad or upset or whatever. Let all those things, all that stuff out of the thing. But when I came back to being in what does serve me, the neutral, to realize how much I had moved in every fiber of my being, in every molecule, in every frequency, in every level, on all bodies, in just that period, it did serve me. Now, I choose not to, do that a lot anymore, and hadn't been. This was a moment, that. But it's all of that. What Lisa's saying, what I'm saying, what she has been saying is it is all done consciously. And why is this so essential right now? Because there is no lag time between you being attached to or non-neutral or lit up by whatever other word you want to use, and as Lisa says, the universe going, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, all right, bring on the trucks, come on, right? It will take in a nanosecond, and it will be with the particular thing you've got, and it'll be with this related thing here and this completely unrelated thing here over here that was working just fine, going just fine, person liking you just fine, whatever it was a moment ago, but because you're doing the and the universe is saying yes ma'am, now it's doing something that's totally unrelated. So that's why it's vital to know this, to be this, and be part of it. And are we there yet? Are we getting there yet? Why is this taking so long? That's why, because we are the ones who are the ones in charge of all that, for our experience and our reality, and for the expansion of the fun to not take a moment less time doing exactly what we want consciously in a real, physical, tangible, right here. I am a kick-ass creator being. I'm magical. I can do all these different things, and I'm doing it right now. And I can do crazy, all sorts of things in the fun things that I want right now. And that's going to keep me busy for a lot of eons to come. Because it's totally different than what we have been doing for a long time. And that's on every dimension. I'm not just talking about the little beings on this blue pen who are finally waking up, and all of us other beings who are so enlightened and who know all these things in these other dimensions are going, isn't that cute? The little humans are woken up. It's every level, every layer, consciousness, expansion, enlightenment is happening in all.
Yeah. I feel like that's true. I think it's across the board myself. It's I do feel it's a form of evolution, because I've always felt like it is no different. Consciousness is no different than nature, I don't think. I have a feeling that consciousness is fractal in nature, the original consciousness, right? Anyway,
Right.
That's a different conversation. I'm sorry.
That's a whole other big conversation. Yeah.
That went a different.
Since it's not your time to be doing that kind of stuff, we're gonna table that for later.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, my head just went like that again. Boy, I tell you. Did I share? I think I shared with you guys once before that there are times I get, it's not Morse code, but it's almost like there's a clicking that happens sometimes.
Yep.
Over on this side. It's very interesting. It's happening now because this whole side actually is feeling very compressed. That's very interesting.
It's a opening up and matching of codes that are coming in and coming down.
My
Opening
eardrum
up.
is reverberating. That's very interesting too. Okay, I'm sorry. Break. Well, gosh, this has really been a really cool conversation. I really appreciate you, BZ, being able to come and chat with us during the day, because here lately, man, at nighttime, I'm lucky if I can drag my rear end to do anything. It feels like, I mean, I have been exercising, but between that and my meditation and my classes, I almost, whew. I'm so glad you were able to come play with us.
Yeah, it's fun. Glad you come play with me.
Well, ladies, did either one of you want to share anything else before we close this one out?
Look and see all of it.
Yeah. How about you, Lisa? Anything?
That's okay.
That's okay. I love that though. I love that though.
No, it's freeing me in ways you can't even imagine. Everything's okay with me now.
Well, I love that, first of all. I think it's.
Me too. I've never felt freer.
Right.
I don't have to fix the damn thing.
Right.
No, that's true.
Imagine my relief.
Right. No.
Yeah, we got to get that microphone fixed. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if that's going to translate over into the video or not. So we'll have to check in.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault, honey, at all. It's never done that before. It might be just a connection or something.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. I love you guys so much. And I wish I could go a little bit longer, but my head feels like it's about to explode. So
this is a good place. People can play with it.
Okay. Yeah, well, and I would love to
write in the comments,
Yep, I would love to hear about folks' interaction. Yeah. So thanks for showing up, everybody who is, and if you have not already subscribed to Conscious Conversation Central, I wish that you would do so. If you're watching this on Conscious Conversation Central, go over to BZ's channel and also subscribe, and vice versa. If you're watching this on BZ's channel, come over here and subscribe. And I don't know exactly when, but you are going to give me the scoop, right? When the changes are going to, when you are coming out, right? With changes and whatnot.
We might even have a conversation recorded about it.
I would love that. I would love that. All right. Well, till next time, everybody. Mwah. Choose joy.